protocol. Whenever a dog shows up with yeast, they're either going on Apoquil or I don't know what the other one's name is off the top of my head. What is it, Cytopoint? And what ends up happening is a lot of times these medications, they do work, by the way. They will stop the itching. But just because you got rid of the itching does not mean you fixed the problem. So, Mike, let me ask you something, right? You're a working man, right? You get up every day at 5 a.m., don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have an alarm clock, right? That wakes you up.
That's right.
Okay, so what would happen if I silence your alarm when it's time for you to wake up?
It wouldn't work out.
Right? It would make things far worse than if we actually dealt with the problem, which is you got to get to work on time. That's your problem.
Hey, if I open my eyes and take a peek and it's light outside and I'm not already up, I'm in trouble.
There you go. There you go. So you see where I'm coming with that. So I'm letting them know right off the bat, man, that, you know, feeding sugars, starchy, and, you know, we talk about that all the time, is not the way to go. To feed raw is one of my recommendations. But if you're against feeding raw, and I understand not everybody wants to, because you might have a 2-year-old running around in the house and you don't want the dog licking her hand and then for, you know, him or her to stick their hand in their mouth or all that. I get it. So do the same thing, the same food prep as you would do raw, except just cook it. That's it. I've been doing that, and it has been very, very effective.
I'm a big fan of cooked, you know, raw foods, but cooked. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to become. In fact, I'm getting ready now, Mike. This summer, I have never truly done it before, because you do need a setup to be able to cook for so many dogs. It all depends how many dogs you have. You only have 1 or 2 dogs, there's no big deal. But you know, you're walking around like I am with more dogs than you know what you do with, then you know you got to have the proper setup. But I've set myself up. I got everything ready. We're making this happen, and absolutely, I can see myself a month or 2 from now, 100% cooked across the table. I know.
Well, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about this, Raul. We've been doing this, and we just haven't ever talked about it. But we can get into it live. That's how we do it. We use, like, anytime we cook meats, whatever juices come from the meat go back into the food.
Yeah.
So like when we boil chicken, we use the water to make the rice.
Yes.
And things like that, and that keeps the nutrition back in it. You know, from the little bit you lose cooking it, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, and I'm glad you brought it up, Mike. Any vegetable, you got to realize, guys, when you cook a vegetable, it loses a lot of vitamins. How does it lose it? It loses it via the water coming out of that vegetable. So do not throw that water out. Mike is 100% on the ball. Make sure you cook rice into that water. You can even make it tastier for your dog, and make sure they're taking that in, because that's where all the good stuff is at, right? We got Stephen Catrone. Hey, guys, from Tampa, Florida. We love and breed golden retrievers. Love your stuff. Thank you, man. Number love. I've heard some good things about golden retrievers, by the way, just recently. Frida says, it amazes me how much we're alike regarding makeup of our animals. I've learned so very much here. QBNK, learned more than I thought. Things I thought I knew. Thanks, Raul, from the heart. Nothing but love, Miss Fredia. You know it. Yeah, man. I have just found that with cooked food, let me just tell you guys, just off the top of my head, the things I've seen. First of all, I don't know if you guys know, we have 2 rescues in my yard. At one time, we had 4. I'll break the story down some other day. Right now, we have 2. We have 1 in the house and 1 in the kennel area with the other dogs. My dog in the house, she must have been a home dog, because she is very picky. Her name is Ladybug. Ladybug is very picky when it's time to eat. Guess what? Ever since I've been cooking, there is no pickiness. In fact, he is hog wild when it's time to be fed. So that's one of the first things you're getting rid of. Here's the second one, which I think is even more important than the first one. and that is their poop, my dog's poop, is as minimal as if they were eating raw. And this is because of the amount of water that is retained. Think about it. If you boil chicken, that water really doesn't go anywhere, right? This is why we keep talking about feeding that water, even if it means cooking the rice with it, right? So, you know, I do give my dogs rice and I do give my dogs potatoes before, like now that we're hitting 94-degree weather today, right? I'm not going to be feeding that. But here's the deal, because I've had some people say, well, don't you say that rice and potatoes feed yeast? And the answer is yes. But here is where one answer doesn't fit everyone or everything or every circumstance. So I can feed rice in my yard, even right now if I wanted to. I don't have any dog showing yeast anything right now. Maybe in 2 weeks after I start feeding rice, I'll start seeing my dogs coming up with maybe a little bit of redness in the paws or whatnot. And that's time for me to pivot and just change. And the beauty of it is, because I'm on top of my dogs looking at them basically daily, they're getting checked. The minute I see a little something, 2 or 3 dogs popping up, I know it's in my mind immediately is dietary. All I got to do is, okay, if we're feeding, say, chicken, green beans, carrots, and rice, okay, we're going to get rid of the rice and we're going to substitute the carrots for pumpkin.
I like the analogy of a vehicle. For me, say my dump truck. You know, the dump truck requires certain fluids to run, and that's what fuels the truck: the gas, the oil, the different fluids, right? And if you keep those fluids in there correctly, then it will run properly. But without having the proper things in it, it doesn't run great. And our bodies and the dog's bodies are just the same. You know, it can only fuel itself on what fuel it's given.
I agree.
And so, you know, it's an easy way to think of it, you know, and I think people miss that a lot. You know, like dogs are biological, just like us. They have nutrition contents and bases, box that need to be checked.
Yes.
And when they're not checked, then you start having issues flare up, just like us.
You know, Mike, it's funny you say that. I just came out with a video explaining to people why it is that during spring and summer, dog skin issues mostly appear. Now, don't get me wrong.
Right.
They also appear in winter, depending what part of the country you're at. Just hear me out if you're watching. Realize this, and even your own immune system for your own health. Whenever there is water in the atmosphere, called humidity, or better yet, relative humidity, when it's above 50%, especially in a warm area like where I'm at, what happens is fungi, bacteria, viruses, vectors, mosquitoes, flies, animals, you name it. Everything is full
Thriving.
full growing, full thriving. And that's coming onto your dog's skin, their nose when they're sniffing, so on and so forth. The same for you. All you have to do is step outside and breathe. That's all it takes. And your body, whether you like it or not, it's going to be bombarded with what's in the air. And humidity and heat help whatever it is reproduce faster. Okay? So just remember, wherever there's humidity, so say you live in the Northeast and it's wintertime. Well, there's humidity outside, but it's snowed and snow is frozen. Yeah, but your dog just walked in the snow and walked in the house. Now that snow is going to melt. And now those paws are wet. And now you see where I'm coming at. So every time there is water in or about the dog's atmosphere, their immune system is going to be under a lot of stress, and you're going to have a higher incidence of skin issues and skin problems. Okay. I can tell you there's people here watching that are in the middle of desert Arizona. And I assure you, they may be dealing with other issues, but I can assure you they're probably not dealing with as many yeast issues that the South is going to be dealing with during
Morning dew is big for us here.
Morning dew, yeah.
Morning dew gets all my dogs. When I get up and I let everybody out, they're all wet from here down. You know, every one of them. And it's like I got to dry everybody's feet, or I will have yeast issues. Period.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I was thinking my wife is real big on with our own diets as well. To you know, our diets are supposed to follow the cycles of the earth. They're supposed to follow the seasons. You eat
Right.
different in the summer than you do in the winter.
You should, yes.
Your body requires different things, and the dogs are the same way. You have to look at the environment and say, well, this time of year we need less rice, we need less potatoes, we need less starches. You know, we need leaner proteins and things like that. You know, it's a big deal to know what to do in the right time of year. You know.
Well, you know, Mike, I kind of brought that up about the whole humidity because I do want to tell you this, and I want people to hear this. A dog that licks his paws after wet grass, walking on wet grass, that is a completely different pattern than, say, a dog that has yeasty ears or is scratching his ears or has a belly rash or has yeasty smell. Okay. The pattern truly is the diagnosis. Remember when I was saying I check my dogs out all the time, and I usually look for the redness in between the webbing of their paws, because in my yard I've already found out that in my neck of the woods, the first sign that things are about to start going downhill is usually in the paws. You might be in a different part of the country and it's the ear. I don't know, but in my case, it's the paw redness, right? So the pattern, believe it or not, ends up being my diagnosis. Right. And once you learn how to read the pattern, okay, once you learn how to read the pattern, you stop chasing the symptom, right? And you start asking the right questions, which is why I told you guys, the minute I see red webbing in between the paws, I immediately, okay, if that was the case, I was feeding rice, green beans, carrots, and chicken. I'm looking at carrots and rice, and we're about to cut them out. I'm going to substitute, because if you just get rid of the rice, you got to substitute for the calories. Otherwise, it's going to be a big dip. And the same goes with the carrots. So I'll substitute the carrots with pumpkin. I may increase what I'm feeding as far as protein is concerned, especially now in the summertime. So if I was feeding 1 chicken quarter, I'll probably go to 2, so I could up on the calories, right? And not necessarily get the calories from sugar. Get them from the right source that I want for my dog, right? Once you guys start learning this, and it's really not that hard, we're coming out with videos where I'm breaking things down on purpose in levels. I had an ear infection video where I show you what level 1 is, what level 2 is, what level 3 is, and what level 4 is. But you don't treat a dog with level 3 ear infection with whatever level 1 or level 4 has. You got to feed exactly what's in level 3. And the same goes with food. If you want to stave off yeast infection. Shane Hudson Kuklish, 6507 says, does cooking sweet potato in a pressure in pressure cooking it, does it reduce sugars? I can't answer. I don't know. I don't think it would.
It's not going to reduce the natural glucose in the sweet potato, but that's not as much of a concern as added sugars.
Well, there's two things. First of all, I don't know. I can't say I know for sure. I don't know. I do know that with rice, I believe if you let it sit and then you recook it, the sugar load on it is less. So I can't say the same 100%.
I think you cook it and let it sit in a refrigerator overnight or something. There's something to it. You're right.
I got to come back and research that. So this is an excellent question. I don't have an answer to. Okay. But if you were to tell me, you were to put a gun in my head, I would say no. Okay. Now, here's the other part. The other part of this question is also, does cooking chicken in a pressure cooker reduce antibiotics in chicken? Let me just say this. And it's the reason why, it's the main reason why we give our dogs Nuvet NuJoint DS, because I do know that the majority of the gunk that they feed chicken and cows ends up in their liver and right in the fat layer, right underneath the skin, which is another good reason to skin your chicken if you're going to be feeding your dogs, whether cooked or raw. But I can't tell you 100% that you're going to get rid of the antibiotics. First of all, I don't know what antibiotics they were. Second of all, I don't know the method in which they were given. Third of all, I don't know the denature in the cooking process. You may be giving it raw and the dog takes in the antibiotic that's there, but maybe when you cook it, it becomes something else and it doesn't take it in. I don't know. I can't answer that. The cleanest route for us that we purposefully do is we cook, we get rid of the skin, and we make sure we don't feed animal liver unless we know for a fact it's only like a grass-fed cow that the only thing she's ever had is grass, no antibiotics, then I will make the exception. But because I can't get that consistently, and when I do find it is completely outrageously priced, I just stick to Nuvet NuJoint DS, and that's how I sidestep all that stuff.